folks, Dr. D in a dungeon again, and working on my Dragon Wagon I just picked up. And I think the first thing I want to do is I want to make a cover plate to go over it so that when it's not in use, it's covered. Is it really needed? No, not really, but you know, I'd kind of like this to look new for a while. And you know, when you're dragging stuff on it and over it and around it, it gets scuffed up pretty quickly. This has got the, I think he calls it the dragon skin coating on it, which is supposedly pretty durable, but you know, like I said, I'd like to keep this, I'd like to keep it around for a while. And so I've got a piece of this, it's furniture grade plywood that I've had kicking around for a while. It came with my laser cutter when I got it. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I'll cut it down. I'll make two edges to go over this side, and then I may or may not do a cover on the other sides, on the long sides. I have more of this, but I kind of hate to burn it up on something like this. But then again, I might. I don't know. But anyhow, this will be the first thing that I do. I've got a lot of different things that I want to do with it. I'm going to put the roller feet on it, and then, like I said, as I said earlier in the Marketplace Finds video, I'm going to build a shelf down below so that I can put all the little accoutrements that go with this underneath the table, and that way they're out of sight, out of mind, but they're easily accessible. So anyway, here we go. All right, folks, so I've got the back side nice and flush, sides are flush, and so now I'm just going to mark one corner, and then I'll go over to the table saw and I'll cut that off. And I'm actually going to so there's my mark. When I cut this, I'm not going to actually cut the mark. I'm going to cut just this side of the mark because I want this to be a nice fit, but I want it to slide on and off without any real issues. Back in a moment. Alright, so I went ahead and cut these 4.5 inches, just about cover it, because I'm going to make these even with the top. And I've got a small drill bit, and I am going to pilot drill each of these. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the material and I'm going to mark the inside of the board. I'll do the same for this one. Obviously there's a side that looks better than the other. Set this up here. This doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a table cover. But this way, you know, it can go in. And so by pre-drilling these, I make it so that the wood's not going to split out. And I'm just going to do 4, I think. Do 1 on each corner and then 1/4 of the way down, give or take. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just got to be in the ballpark. So that gives me a target place to drill these. All right, I'll do the other one and then we'll come back and we'll attach these. I'm actually going to glue these as well. All right, we got all of our little holes drilled, and then all I'm going to do is this one up here, just so it serves as kind of an edge. First one in. Kind of hard to do this with Only one hand available. I probably should have clamped it, but it'll be all right. All right, so I got that first one in, and that's going to kind of hold everything together. Now this one, I'll go ahead and line it up. And screw it together. Maybe if I can hit the hole. There we go. I just want these slightly sunken. And then just work my way down, and I can reset these a bit if I need to. Got a little bit of edge creep here, but not a big deal. And there we go. And then I'll just do that on the other side. Back in a moment. All right, and just like that, we've got a little protective tabletop so that, you know, I can do stuff. I think I am just going to leave the long side without cover, simply because, I'll turn it towards me, simply because now I could actually have access to you. I could actually put some of those dogs in here, and I could clamp stuff down. So this actually could function as a woodworking table as well. And who knows what else we'll come up with. But, you know, that's the first little step. Just something to protect the table a little bit. Obviously, I'll spray it down with oil every time before I put this over it. Otherwise, that moisture will just sit underneath there and it'll actually rust the table. All right, we'll come back in a little bit with our next improvement. I couldn't resist putting my logo on it. Couldn't help myself. I had to do it. It'll get scuffed up pretty quick, but you know, why not? Hey folks, Dr. In a Dungeon. I had a couple days off there and getting back to this fabrication table. And so anyhow, first thing I'm going to do is put the new wheels on it so that it's mobile. And then I'm going to start working on developing a shelf that'll go, you know, somewhere here in the middle. So anyhow, just probably put this on time lapse and kind of let it run. What I've done is I took a piece of steel drawn over mandrel piping, tubing, and stuck it through there and lifted up and put a jack underneath, a jack stand underneath it. And so that way it's nice and sturdy. I was a little worried about it, but it's pretty darn sturdy. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and put this on time lapse, and then we'll go from there. All right, folks, that wasn't too bad. It sits right about waist level for me, and so it's high. It's I'm going to guess that's probably 36 inches high, probably about 6 inches higher than what would be normal. Let me go get a tape measure. We'll see. Wow, about 40 and a half. But you know, I've got a lot of back issues, and so it's really hard for me to actually bend over and do stuff. And so I think I'm going to leave it as it is for now. I may lower it later, but honestly, I like the thought of working just above waist level. That will save a lot of wear and tear on my back, and I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing. So, oops. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start working on putting together the brackets for the shelf, and I'll start that here in just a minute. Back in a few. Hey folks, if you ever used one of these Evolution cold cut saws, they are the bomb. Excuse me. All right, so I've got to cut these at 33 3/4 inch or somewhere close to that. Got that mark. close enough anyhow. Way too much. All right, there we go. God darn it. There we go. Easy peasy. You don't own it. Guess I should have thought about that. But this is one of the old. Why don't you turn that switch? Looking at me. This is one of the first models that came out, and it didn't have, it just had a regular screw handle, and so I wound up, I had an old Harbor Freight abrasive cutoff saw that it was still working, but it was on its last leg, and so I scavenged this whole mechanism off of it. I had to shim it up a bit, and works really well. But man, these things can't beat them. Carbide tip blades, they cut through steel like butter. I mean, you know, that would have taken probably 10 to 15 minutes on a small size bandsaw, whereas here, you know, it's 30 seconds of cutting. So, talk to you out. We'll go back inside. All right, so what we got going on here is got an old chair as a way of holding this up where I want it. I've got it evened up pretty much on the ends, and so what we're going to do is we're going to notch out this inside leg, and so that it will fit inside of here, and then that'll form the platform that we'll put our shelf on. So I'm just going to mark, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of room. And then I'll cut those back to the edge, and then I'll use an angle grinder to cut those out, and I'll do both of them the same. So, back in a moment. Alright, so I don't think I'm going to get all the way through with this particular cutoff blade, but we'll get as far as we can on both sides of it, and then I'll go switch out the blade. All right, time for a new blade. All right, we got our disc changed out. I'm not going to be able to get all the way in from the side, so I'll have to cut from the top on that a little bit, but I'm going to get as far as I can. Should be able to cut all the way in here. Pretty good on that. Too late. I'm gonna go change shirts before I totally ruin this shirt. Alright, let's try that again. Quite all the way through, but we're pretty close. Let's see if I can't. Almost. Up with the other saw, there's the other grinder. Alright, now let's finish this one up. Same thing. Not too bad. Yeah, let me cut that other one out too. I think you can still see everything. Oops. All right. So there we go. I'm gonna go get the other grinder. It's got a grinding blade on it instead of a cutoff, and we'll clean it up real good, and then I'm going to wire brush it. Back in a moment. Now we're just going to clean up those edges a little bit. Same type of grinder, I just got a thicker grinding blade on there. Grinding disc. making sure that I want this thing to sit flush. Now we'll take a wire brush to this and strip it down to more or less bare metal. Not necessarily bare metal, but close enough. Hey, just on a note of safety, always wear glasses when doing this stuff. These wire brushes work really good, but man, they throw a little the bristles break off and they'll stick in you wherever they hang. You know, I've had them stick in my belly, my legs, my hands. So just be cautious when you're doing this. All right, we're going to switch over to time lapse. Oh, all right. So I think these are 3/4 inch holes, but I don't really remember. Now, yeah, there. 7. Yeah, looks like about 765. All right, and then so I'm going to drill those a little bit oversized to give myself some play, because I'm going to have to. I don't have anything accurately that I can measure that with, other than a tape measure, and so I'm going to give it a swag, and then I'll cut the holes a little oversized, and then it should work out. But I'm going to do these in the mill, and that way I've got repeatability for what I'm doing. All right, be back in a moment. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go from the middle of that hole. Looks like 30.5. I'll measure on the other side just to make sure. 30.5 seems pretty legit. Yeah, 30.5 it is. All right, folks, so here we go. We got 33 3/4 inches overall length. 30.5 is the difference, is the center to center hole distance on that. Subtract those two, divide by 2, and I come up with, what was it? 1.625. All right, so I'm going to do is I'm going to take the holes 1 inch down, because I'm just going to go drill a 3/4 inch. Well, maybe I'll go a little over an inch. Yeah, I'll go a little over. I'll go 1.25 inches down, and then 1.625 over. I'll mark those, and then I'll just go ahead and drill those and be done with this. So here we go. Just going to put it in time lapse, because this will take a few minutes. Well, I guess I'll just let it run. All right, so 1.625 puts me Again, these don't have to be perfectly exact, but I want them close. All right, good. And then I'm going to do 1.25 inches. Somewhat close to that. That's going to be slightly above the center line on this. I'm only going to do 1 bolt in each. Alright, and so I got that. And let's go over here and let's mark this one as well. .625. Alright, so that's got me a mark. This would be a little better if I didn't have this up in the mill, but you know, it is what it is. There it goes. All right. All right. And this just needs to be close, it doesn't have to be exact. All right, 1.625. Pretty close. All right, I'll be back in a minute. I got to turn on the phase converter. All right, here we go. Buzzy here in the background is phase converter. I'm in low range high, and let's see what we got here. Wrong way. All right, here we go. I got a 3/4 inch silver dimming bit, and put a little oil on that. Let's see, I probably should go a little slower. Hole. Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the center line of this to my mark that I've got over there, make sure that's accurate, and then I'll go ahead and center punch that and make sure that we're good to go. So I'll be back here in just a second. Alright, now we're just double checking. I have not moved my x-axis, and alright, so there's 30.5, and that's a little off from where I marked. Let's see, that looks good. Okay, yeah, that looks good. And again, if I'm off just a hair, not a big deal. Alright, crank that down. This out. Put that board back in. If I had my vise set up differently, I could have just ran the full length of this, but it'd be pretty much the full extent of my travel. And, but I got the the vise set up. Alright, it looks pretty good. Let's double check it from the other side. Measure 3 times because you can only cut once. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Get that out of there. Looks good. Check the fit on that, and then I'll do the other one, but I think we're going to be good. Back in a few. Alright folks, did a quick test fit, and just the slightest little bit of misalignment, so I'm going to open these up to 13/16, and that should be sufficient. Yeah, it'll go through one side, but the other side, so just the slightest bit of misalignment. And so we'll just open her up. Because those legs bolt on with 4 different screws to hold them in place, and so you can get just a little bit of misalignment from that. So, you know, ooh, yeah, I didn't want to go that far. A little more travel I wanted to use. Like this. Get her close. We'll move her in. Maybe just a hair. Alright. Let's fit that. Alright, here we go. Let's see if this will work. Got that baby. Got it? Yep, 10. Alright, so that doesn't look too bad. I'm going to go ahead and stick it back on the milling machine, and I'm going to drill 3 small holes for wood screws to hold a piece of plywood underneath there. So we'll come back in just a bit.
Little tails going all over the place.
All right, here we go. So let me go here. Alright, so these don't have to be exact. We got 26 inches, so I'm going to do one at 2 inches in and then in the middle. So 13 inches, right about there, 2 inches in, right about there, and then right about there. Alright, and I'm just going to use the center drill, because then it'll give me a countersunk hit. That's a good hit. Yeah, let's see. All right, I got a clearance issue on the power box to my power feed, so I wound up sticking a about a 3/4 inch parallel back behind there to push it out a little bit and give me a little more room. Do that the other one, and then we'll be ready to clean these up and paint them and install our shelf. Alright, so I got those drilled. A little bit of a burr on this side, just running a 1/2 inch drill across the top of it to kind of clean that up. Quick and easy. Same on the other one. So that cleans those up nicely. I'm going to use some degreaser to clean up the oil and stuff on this. But I am going to paint these, obviously. I don't have a red that'll match that, so I'm just going to go with good old black. Can't go wrong with black. Down, get all the cookie stuff off. Side of the way. Now this is the underside of the bench, so I'm not overly concerned about the paint peeling. Will it peel? Probably. Yeah. I'm at least giving it the old try. Let's try. Paint lasts a little while. Shouldn't get beat up too much. Now we'll just let that dry in the sun, and then we'll paint her. Back in a bit. All right, here we are. Got them all painted up nicely, and so let's go ahead and drop this puppy in place. Ready?
It's not going in.
We have them reversed. Yeah. All right, hold that. We got the wrong one for the wrong side. There's some minor variation there. in the hell? It's not. We had it right. What? Go down. That's part of the problem. You good?
Yep.
There we go. All right. Let's go over to the other side. Fourth hole down. Nope. There we go. All right, let me see that, please. All right, doesn't look bad. Now I just got to cut the cut a piece of plywood for that. We'll be back shortly. All right. Well, we didn't do the greatest job on painting, but whatever. All right, so I am looking at 21 3/4. 21 3/4. Yeah, that'd be good. And then I think our overall length is 33 3/4. So 21 3/4, 33 3/4. All right. All right, so here we are. Tried to test fit, but it's a little too tight, so we're going to have to take this back off. Let's pull it out.
Maybe leave it like that.
Yeah, that should be fine. All right, can you lift that up? All right. Need a little bit more. There we go. All right, perfect. Okay. Actually, can't have the bolt sticking through.
Oh, I was able to lift up to be able to do it. But... Ow!
Put.
She was.
Do you see what I'm doing here? I can't have the bolt through.
Oh.
I have to probably do the other side the same way.
Yeah.
It's all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the bolt back on this side. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a nice fit. I like it. So I think if we just take the nut off, it'll probably, yeah, I had to back it out, not all the way, but just a little bit.
Yeah. There.
There we go. All right. I like that.
There we go.
All right. So that's a pretty nice fit. Flush up here. The corners look pretty good. I think we'll call that a wrap for the day. Talk to you out. All right, folks, not quite a wrap yet. So here I've got everything set up under there, and I'm liking it. And then a little set of shims right there. So the last thing I've got is I've got all of these things, and I think what I'm going to do. Can you hold the camera for me, please? Right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a downboard on the inward side of these legs, and I might make it out of pegboard. I probably won't. I'll just use the plywood that I've been using, and then I'll hang these puppies up like so, and yeah, as Tom Lipton would say, and Bob's your uncle. So as I was saying, just going to put a downboard on each side of this, maybe 4, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll do 4 sides, why not? And just think about pegboard style, and I'll hang these things down here so they'll be out of the way, yet they'll be easy to access. Yeah, to coin a phrase from one of my favorite YouTubers, Ox Tools, Tom Lipton, and Bob's your uncle. So anyhow, tomorrow I will pick up with that, and we'll finish this up. Doc T out for today. Alright. Not waiting for the next day because I want to get this done. What I've done is clean everything off. I have pulled the nuts off of these. These are still in place, but they're loose. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this on the back side here. And I am going to, what we got here, 27 inches. So I want to put, so 13.5 would be the middle. Can you hold this, please? So 13.5 would be the middle. And then let's go 6. So 6 to 13.5 be 7.5, so 21. Okay. Alright. And then we'll put one in the middle of the legs. Alright, that seems legit. Alright, pull that out. Alright, so this, this, and this. So that gives me my spotch to pre-drill. Let's go do the other side same way. We'll come back in a minute. Alright, so I went ahead and marked all those. I'm just going to go ahead and drill a pilot hole for each of these. So this way I can get the screws in there without any problems. And then I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, come back in a minute. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So let's put these back in. Apron. So I did 13 and a half, 6, and 21, I think. What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
Alright, so 13 and a half, 6, and 21. Pushing up. And we're going to run this right up next to it.
Good.
Alright. Good?
Yep.
Alright, let's put the nuts back on.
Good.
Now we need, we'll do my tape measure.
This one's gonna need tightening.
Alright, so now we cut the last little piece here. Which is, look at that. Alright, big two. This has got to come over this way. I want it even with this board up here, baby. Are we even?
Yes.
Do I have a gap here? Okay. Can you push it on that just a little bit? Let's do the same over here. Okay. So now all we got left to do is to put some screws or maybe drill some, I don't know, I'll figure out what I want to do, but it's for another day. So, you know, even though this was pretty simple, I wound up killing, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours total when it was all said and done. A lot of running and getting tools here or there, whatever. But even simple projects, you know, require multiple tools and a plan. And when you're just going on the fly, like I had an idea in my mind, but I didn't lay it all out, I just went with it. And so, yeah, this is going to work out just fine, but I could have done a little better job of planning it first. So here we are. Whoops. Let's see if I can get this thing out of the... You know, I'll probably wind up. So all those will hang under there. I'm not sure what I'll put on this apron over here because it's going to stick out just a little bit. But I don't know. Might be a good place to hang a, that's what I'll do, I'll hang a square on there. A regular carpenter square. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Doc D out. Hey folks, welcome back. Doc D in a Dungeon. And we're about ready to finish up improvements, upgrades, whatever you want to call it, to the Dragon Wagon. So, you know, I put the shelf on there yesterday. and then I put these side skirts on, and I think what I want to do is basically I want to hang my clamps up on the side there. And so, you know, I went to Lowe's and they've got these 3 1/16 inch little L brackets, and so I'm going to pre-drill some holes in this, and then I'll set these up, and I think I can get 2 of these clamps on one set. If not, then well, we'll play around with it. But that way these will be easily accessible yet out of the way, and so I'm kind of looking forward to getting this done. I'm also going to tape off the sides of this, and then I'm going to spray paint this Doc D orange. And so I'm probably just going to put you on time lapse, and we'll let it rip. Talk to you later. Alright. Well, painting was never something I was really good at. So, alright, so what I'm going to do is I cut a piece of paper that is the same width as the skirt underneath. And I'm just playing around with some layouts here to figure out how I can do this. With the least amount of disruption. I don't know if that's really a good idea or not. I think that works. One there. Yeah, that's the problem. I realize I should probably just there. And just do one here. Here. Okay. So yeah, that'll let me just throw this up on top of here, and that'll let me just throw this on top of the apron, drill the holes, pilot drill the holes, and then I'll screw those in, and I think it'll work just fine. You know, other than that, I was just going to put one in place, spot drill a hole. So this allows me to visualize a little better, and so we'll see how it goes. Spray paint I bought, it's not a real good quality. I'm not a great painter anyhow, but the quality's not that great, and so I pretty much had to wipe off what I did because I had a lot of runs in it. My fault. So I'm just doing light coats, so it'll probably have 4 or 5 coats before it's thick enough that I'm happy with it. So gonna be a little while, but I'll continue to work on this stuff. I may just go ahead and drill this side, and then as that one dries, then I'll move over to it. All right, folks, Doc D in a dungeon. I think that's going to be a wrap. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. We've got the table clamps here with Doc D orange, even though up close it's not really a good paint job, but whatever. I don't know if I'm going to paint the other side. I might not. So I've got all this other stuff wrapped up here. We've got goodies stacked up there. We've got all of our other stuff. Let's see if I can roll you down there. Can we zoom in there? So you can see we've got squares on one side. I've got those adjustable stops. All right. Roll around here on the other side. heavy. And then we've got, you know, our clamps down there. I probably will paint that at some point, but, and then, and so we got squares there. And then, most importantly, we have D in attention. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Got a lot more stuff coming, and we have this thing called Flee Across Florida that's happening this weekend, and man, it's going to be a blast. But I hope you enjoyed this. I really like what I've done here. I've taken this and made it a very modular piece that I can fit everything that I actually own for this table on it, and it's all right there at my fingertips. And I absolutely love that I can just roll this thing around. I mean, man, that is awesome. I am so excited. Doc T out. Have a great weekend.